Good morning, everyone. We will wait for a couple of more minutes for the rest of the students. Then the class will start. In between the class, if you find any problem, if you would like to discuss, or if you would like to ask anything, you can text me on my WhatsApp. Just for the revision, I would like to remind you that in the previous class, we have seen the concept of while loop. Today, we will solve few problems related to while loop, and then we will see how the for loop can be utilized to solve the same type of problem that we have already done using the while loop. As already mentioned in the previous class, whatever you are going to learn during the online class will not be repeated in the offline class. So you all are requested to please pay your attention on the class. And whatever the content will be given to you through the slide or through the practical session, you are requested to note down in your copy date wise, so that in future, if for the reference, if we are going to take the look that when and on which date we have completed the particular task, that will be beneficial for you also. So this will be our new problem that we are going to solve using the while loop. First, we will consider the problem we solve using the while loop. Then we will try our best to solve the same problem using the for loop also. The problem is write a program in Python to find the sum of n natural numbers, and the n is the variable which will be basically n will be the value which will be given by the user. It can be, for the example, I have taken 5, it can be 10, it can be 20, it can be 100. So if the user has given the value 5, the output will be the sum of all the numbers from 0 to 5 or 1 to 5. We can include 0 also, because we are knowing that addition of 0 will not affect the magnitude of the entire summation. So it can be 0 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5, or 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. So based upon the number that will be given by the user, the solution will be generated. So before showing the solution of this problem, firstly, I would like to remind you how we have utilized the concept of while loop in the previous example and what was the syntax of while loop. as you can see, the same type of problem we have completed in the previous class also, in which in our problem we have started the value from I from using the value 1. The initial point was basically 1 for our example. We can start with it with 0 also. It is going till 10. So 0 to 10, the loop will run from 0 to 10. In between, the value I will be printed and it will be incremented. As we all are knowing that this is the point of initialization. This is the point of condition. And this will be the point of incrementation or decrementation. We have already seen that these three are the key elements. These three are the key points of any looping construct, whether it is while loop or for loop. So for any looping, we must have one point of initialization, a point of condition, and a point of either incrementation or decrementation. Let's move ahead. So next we have to solve this problem in which we have to ask a number from the user and then find the sum of the numbers. Now let's have the analysis of this. This was the problem. Let's have the analysis of this solution. According to the question, the first task is ask a number from the user. So the first line is x is equals to int input, enter a number. That means first ask a number from the user. The number will be asked and it will be converted into integer format. And after that, it will be saved inside the variable x. Just for the example, just for the illustration, just for this example, I am taking the value of x, let it be 5. So the value 5 has been entered inside the variable x. In the next line, I am starting the variable I with 0 and s also with 0. This is the point of initialization for loop. I am taking to control the loop, and s will be taken to calculate the sum of all the numbers that this loop will generate. This line is the main condition line, where it is written that I do the job till the value of I is either less than or equals to x. So it will be the entire execution of the problem will be completed till the value of I reaches to x. The starting value of I is 0, and we are assuming that the value of x is 5. It can be anything, but for our assumption for this instance, we are taking the value of x as 5. Next is s equals to s plus I. This is the point of process. Here we are trying to find a sum of all the values that I will generate. And this line is the point of incrementation. So this is our point of initialization. This is the point of condition. And this is the point of incrementation. And that will depend upon the type of question, that whether we have to increment the content or decrement the content. But this question was asking to increase the value, so we have utilized the concept of incrementation. Now let's see how the programming will run. First, the number will be asked from the user. We are assuming that the number is 5. We are assuming that the number will be 5. Then I has been started with the value 0, s has been started with the 0. Why we have taken 0? Because we are knowing that when at the beginning, when we are going to add something with the value 0, it will not change the magnitude of the entire content. One by one, we will see each and every line. In the fourth line, it is checking that whether the value of I is less than or equals to x. Yes, the value of x is 5 and the current value of I is 0. So I is less than or equals to x, and due to this condition, finally, your code will jump inside the while loop. And these two lines are the member of the while loop, only these two lines. After that, after coming inside the loop, these two lines will be calculated. The first line is s equals to s plus 1. When the value of I is 0, the execution will be s equals to s plus 1. And what is the current value of s? The current value of s is 0. What is the current value of I? The current value of I is again 0. Due to these two lines, these two values. So it will be calculated 0 plus 0, which will become 0. Now I will be incremented. The current value of I is 0. And then 1 will be added, it will become 1. So this is the first instance of the loop. Next time I becomes 1. The moment I will become 1, this will be the second execution of the loop. The moment I becomes 1, s will be calculated again. S equals to s plus I and I is equals to I plus 1. Why? Because 1 is still less than equals to 5. So all the execution will be conducted till the value of I reaches to x. So right now the value of I is 1, which is less than 5. So again s equals to s plus I will be executed, but the current value of s is 0. But the current value of I is 1. So calculation will be 0 plus 1. I will be incremented. The value of I is 1. Again 1 will be added and it will become 2. So after the second execution, the value of s become 1 and the value of I becomes 2. Same way next time when I becomes 2, again while we'll check whether the value of I is less than equals to x. Yes, it is, because the value of I is 2. Again, these two lines will be calculated, which is s equals to s plus 1 and s equals to s plus I and I equals to I plus 1. So the current value of s, as you can see here, this is 1. And the current value of I is 2. So the next calculation will be 1 plus 2 and it will become 2. Again, the I will be incremented. The current value of I is 2. And then 1 will be added and this will be the new value of I, and now I becomes 3. So this addition and the incrementation will move on till the value of I reaches to 5. The moment when I is going to move ahead 5, that means more than 5, when I will become 6, the while will check whether the value of I is less than equals to 5, less than equals to x, which is 5. No, because I is 6, which is neither less than or equals to 5. So now these two lines will be terminated. Your execution of while loop will end. And after that, your final output will be displayed here. So this is how the summation of n natural number can be calculated. Just related to this problem, we are having the next problem. After showing the slide for the next problem, then I will jump towards the actual programming zone, where I will show you how the programming can run on our Python shell also. I hope that you have noted down the entire solution. Even after the class also, I will share the video of the class so that if you skip something, you can note down after the class also. Now let's have one more problem. This was the sum of n natural number. Now we are going to solve the factorial of a given number. What does it mean? What does it mean by factorial? If I will ask you to find a factorial of 5, the factorial of 5 will be 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5. So yes, you can just message me on my WhatsApp number if you have any problem, so that I can reply accordingly, because I have logged everything. Okay. So the question is, write a program in Python to find a factorial of a given number. So the factorial means, if I am giving you a number 10, the factorial will be the multiplication of all the numbers from 1 to 10. That means 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5 into 6 into 7 into 8 into 9 into 10. If you can visualize the previous problem and this problem, there is something similarity between the solution of the sum of the natural number and the factorial of a number. And the similarity is it is generating the number from 1 to the number which has been given by the user. In the previous example also, we have generated the number from 1 to 5. In this example also, we are generating the number from 1 to 5. The only difference is in the previous example, we were adding the content. But in the current example, we are multiplying the content. This is the main difference. So in place of addition, just we have to utilize the concept of multiplication and automatically the factorial will be calculated. Let's have the look on the solution. And you are going to see that the solution is almost same. Only 3 line will be, 3 points will be different from the previous one. The value was asked earlier also from the user. Only in the previous example, the value of I was started from 0, but right now I am starting from 1. Same way in the previous example, the value of S, variable name doesn't matter. You can use S also, F also. F is related to factorial, that is I am writing here F, you can write S also. Here I am starting it from 1. And the third point of difference is this one. Apart from this, you can see code are almost same. We are incrementing the values. This has been just multiplied. And in place of summation, I am writing the message that is factorial, nothing else. The question arises here that why to start with 1? Why can't we start with 0? And the reason is, in the previous example, we were adding the content. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. And you all are knowing, in this addition, if you are beginning with 0, it doesn't matter anymore. Because 0 plus something will never affect anything. The magnitude will be only the addition of from 1 to 10 only. Yes, very good, beta. Now, in the concept of factorial, if you are going to use this 0 as the beginning one, then what will happen? You are going to multiply the entire content with 0. That means you are trying to find a multiplication of 1 into 2 into 3 into 5, but at the beginning you are multiplying it by 0. So finally what will happen? Everything will become 0. Yes, one very good question was asked that why we are taking 2 variables. We are taking 2 variables. First variable I am using to control the loop beta. You can see here I is equals to 1, I is less than equals to x, and I is equals to I plus 1. This loop will control the loop. This variable will control the loop. It will start from 1, it will end to x, and it is incrementing. And the second variable, earlier it was s, right now it is f, will be utilized. In the previous example, this was utilized to save the sum of the numbers. And this time we are utilizing it to save the factorial of the number. That is why we are using 2 variables. One was for the looping and second is for saving the factorial. So that is why we have utilized 2 variables here. So just the difference between 2 segments, just apart from using plus, I am using multiplication. And in place of using 0, I am using 1, nothing else. The summation becomes factorial. I hope you have noted down. The values inside the variable will be saved automatically, but we are overwriting it. But when you are going to run the program, you have to save the program and then execute it. Now I am going to show the practical session in which I am using the platform of Spider, in which saving the program is not mandatory, but for the basic of your the basic platform on which you are learning, you are working on in your lab, you have to utilize, you have to first save the program and then run it. So let's have the look. Let's have the solution on the practical ground. So first we need to ask the number from the user. First, let me increase the size of the font so that it will be visible to you all. So x is equals to int input enter a number. After this line, we have written I is equals to 0. This variable is for controlling the loop, and s is also 0. In the s, we are going to save the summation of the numbers. Then we have to write while I is less than or equals to x. Colon is mandatory, as you all are knowing, and after putting the colon, when I am going to press the enter button, it will come in the next line after few indentation. We don't need to bother for that. It will be done by the compiler. Inside the loop, we have written s is equals to s plus I. And then we have incremented the value of I. This is the part of your loop, I is equals to I plus 1. And after that, in the next line, in the next previous indentation, that is out of the while loop, we have to just print the final summation, and that is summation is equals to comma s, because sum is saved inside the variable x. Let's execute it. After execution of the program, let's see whether it is finding the sum or not. As you can see here at the right bottom area, this is the output screen. It is asking the number. Let me increase the size of this font also. So it is asking a number. I am just giving the number 5. And you can see here the output is 15. That is the sum of first 5 natural number, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. That is 15. You can verify it manually also, because the number is very small. But when I'm going to provide you a bigger number, let it be 100. This is the sum of first 100 natural numbers. And this is a computerized program, so it will not give you the wrong answer. So this was the solution of some of the numbers, some of the and natural numbers. Now, just in the same programming, I will change that 3 lines, and I will try to make it the factorial of the number. So I will start from 1. S will start from 1. In place of s equals to s plus I have to just utilize s equals to s multiplied by I, because factorial is the multiplication of all the numbers from 1 to the number that was given by the user. And the message, the correct message will be factorial is equals to s. We don't need to change the name of the variable. The name of the variable is your choice. You can make the same also. Again, I'm going to run it. You can see here, it is asking the number. Again, the first number I would like to provide is 5. And see the factorial. You can verify it. The factorial, which is coming 120, is basically the multiplication of 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5. That is 1 into 2 is 2, 2 into 3 is 6. 6 into 4 is 24. And 24 into 5 is basically 120. Let's run one more time. This time I will provide some bigger number. Let it be 100. And this is the factorial of 100. You don't need to re-verify it manually for this. So how easily we have converted the concept of sum of the natural number into the concept of the factorial of the number using the while loop. I hope you have noted down. So firstly, I would like to convert the same programming into while loop. First, you need to have the syntax. You need to know the syntax of the for loop, and then only you will understand how this can be converted. This was our factorial problem. And this is the syntax of for loop. According to the syntax of for loop, you have to first write for, then you have to mention a variable, and this is in operator, I and in. In is the membership operator you have to utilize here. And after that, you can write a sequence in this place. What is a sequence? Sequence can be a string. It can be a collection of integers also, or it can be a function whose name is basically range. And this is the most important part. In place of using string, in place of using collection of integer, mostly we are going to utilize the concept of range only. Let's see how. As you can see here, not like your while loop, I have not mentioned the point of initialization, I have not mentioned the point of condition, I have not mentioned the point of incrementation or decrementation also. But the for loop is having all these three. Every loop will have all these three. Let me show how these three content will be shown to you. This is the example of for loop. As you can see here, just I have written for I in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this automatically, this will become the point of initialization. That is the starting point. We don't need to bother for some different line. In the same line, I have mentioned the point of initialization. This will become your point of condition, because at this point, your programming is ending. Your looping is basically ending. And we don't need to bother for increase the value. Automatically, the value will be increased by the for loop. So this is the goodness of for loop. And that is why most of the students like for loop in place of while loop. Just you have to write for I in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, print I, and all the values will be printed. So it is much more easier than while loop. So when I am going to write for I in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is sequence. This is exactly sequence. The values that I am giving here is basically your sequence. And then I am just writing here print I. When I am going to run it, you can see all the values has been printed vertically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that is why for loop is much easier as compared to your while loop. The second part of the sequence is your range. In place of sequence, you can utilize the concept of range. And range is very good part. In place of sequence, we will try our best to use the range function. Range function is telling you to put the bracket. In the bracket, you can provide maximum 3 values. Minimum, it can be 2 also or 1 also. We will see how. Range. It will start, the first value will be the point of initialization. The second value will be the point of condition, but this will be the value, exactly the value will be int plus 1. Why? Because if you are going to write here 1, 10, it will run only till 9. The last value will not be accepted. This is the only rule of this range function. And stepping will tell you that whether you are going to run in increasing order or in decreasing order. Firstly, just I am going to, we are not having so much time. So firstly, just I will show it to the practical only. Random numbers, beta, just like your while loop, we can utilize in for loop also. Let me show you how. I'm coming back to the practical screen, and there I will show you the difference of. This was the first example that we have seen, and the example was print all the values from 1 to 10 using the sequence. The same problem if I would like to print using the range function, let me show you how it will work. Range 1, 10. If I'm writing just 1, 10, let me show you what will happen. The output coming is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10 will not be added. The last value will not be accepted. This is the main rule or limitation of the range function. If you would like to print 1 to 10, then you have to write here 1, 11. Your friend has asked me a very good question, how to print some different stepping format. Like if I would like to print 1, after that one, I would like to print 3 and then 5. That means I need a incrementation of 2. At that point of time, you have to write 1, 11, 2. Now this is the point of stepping. And now you can see the output. It is coming 1, then 3, then 5, then 7, then 9. Because we have incremented the value by 2 steps. If I am going to increment the value by 3 steps, accordingly, we will get the answer 1, 4, 7, 10. At any point of time, it will not go beyond 10. In the previous example, it stops at 9 because 9 plus 2 was 11 and 11 is not allowed to be printed. Same way, if I am going to write here 1, 7, 6, that means 6 steps. So you are going to get only 2 values, 1 and 7, because 7 plus 6 is 13 and this value is basically beyond 11. So it is much more easier. Yes, correct, beta. For decrementation, we have to use the minus sign. Let me show you how. If I'm writing 1, 11 and I'm writing here minus 1, will it work? It will not. You are not going to see any output. Why? Because I am instructing the compiler to start from 1, go to 11, and then decrease the value by 1 step. This is not the correct format. The correct format will be start from 11, come to 1, 11 to 1, and then you can see the output. The first value is 11. The last value will not be 1. It will be less than 1. That is why it is running from 11 to 2 only. And minus 1 is showing that do it in decreasing order. So this is how for loop can be utilized. Firstly, I would like to show the all the previous examples, what we did earlier. But a random number cannot be generated in any loop. Whenever you are going to utilize the loop, the number must be having some proper sequence. Like if you would like to print 1, 11, 5, 2, there will be no concept in any programming language to print a value in this different manner. You have to print in fixed type of status, fixed type of reasoning. If reasoning is not there in between the two number, it will not be utilized using any loop, whether it is while or for. So when I have written 1, 10, it was printed 1 to 9. Because it is starting from 1, it is ending to 9 only. When I have written 1, 11, it was started from 1 and it was ended to 10 only. Because last value will not be utilized. And if required, if I am going to write comma 2, so this is stepping process. That means just like I is equals to I plus 2. So when you are going to do this, you can see here I 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Because the first value of I is 1, then 2, and then 5, and then 7, plus 2 is 9, and plus 2 will be 11, which will not be included. I will show you the entire content, whatever the problem we have completed using the while loop. In the next class, I will show the same content using the for loop also, because the time will not permit right now. But after the class, I will share the video of the for loop, which will help you to understand how the same problem that you learn using the while loop can be converted into for loop. So just 2 or 3 minutes or more, I would like to request you to have some break so that after a couple of minutes, you can have your next class. So I don't know about the next order that will be given by the DM or the administrator, that whether you are going to get your online or offline class. If the online class will be conducted, and again, we are going to meet on Monday. Otherwise, we will see the next class in the offline class. Till then, take care of yourself. Have a nice day. Bye bye.